Bam, 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 bang. Boys, Repa Bridge, boys and girls, welcome back. As you can see, I'm still Kumarain. You guys asked for consistency, and I said, it's still gonna do Kumarain, but still, and we're still continuing with the theme of, inviting bridges for everyone. So I got my good friend here, my brother, Mr. Shoko. Welcome, Mr. Shoko.
What's good, my
bridge.
brother?
Are you familiar with the? Okay, let's not get carried away. For as long as I've known, as a matter of fact, this is the perfect time to address this issue. There's no one who has tried to gentrify getting it more than. Right? But before we get carried away, before we get into that, this episode is probably brought to you by Mukuru. If you're sending money to a Mukuru wallet, 0 fees. 0 transaction cost, which means more money for your family. Of course, this information doesn't apply to my relatives. It's not working like that. But for everyone else, even my relatives need to know I'm still getting charged. Please don't get carried away. But for everyone else who's not related to Kandor, it's 0 fees if you're sending to your Mukuru wallet.
Man, shout out. Since you are still Kumarain right now, ungavangoye wachi collect a cash and hapana nije kutumira any money via anything ngavangoye watore mari yao.
Don't listen to this man. We're going to edit this part out. This episode is also proudly brought to you by Read and Flexi. Join a world of convenience. We're saying gone are the days of buying my coupon, watching it or just get your coupons. Store them in the app. You can send, you can transfer, you can split them. You can also manage your fuel allocation if you have a big organization. Download the Read and Flexi app. If you've been coming to these shows, the State of the Nation shows, then you know, Kuti, we're also giving away 100 liters of fuel per week to people who have the Read and Flexi. Like Mambo since I ticket the comedy show over comedy show and fuel. But price the tickets are because it's but big shout out to our sponsors, man. The reason why I called you here, my bro, is you recently got married. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Shout out to your wife.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to feel like I'm attacking you. Just tell us what's been going on. How's married life? I don't want to say things. Just tell us what's going on.
Full disclosure, you want to fat shame, and I genuinely, for the record, I genuinely missed 2018 when when USA was paying people to get angry at people like you on the internet. But it's been good, man. It's been a fantastic.
You look healthy, man.
Thank you, bro.
You
My
look
skin
well
is glowing.
moisturized.
My skin is glowing, you know. Yeah, happiness, right?
Even some scents that I'm smelling on you, they seem inspired.
Yeah. No, we just buy them together, and some of them smell feminine, but it's cool. I don't get in trouble because
the reason why he jumped on to saying you want to fetch me is because before we started recording, it's like no. My meals are true kuchka. It's full meals, and I immediately related to that because I remember getting married. I weighed a certain amount, right?
I remember the pictures are there.
Right? The conversation that I really wanted to, there's a certain conversation that comes with, varume munozviregerera when you get married, and I want to say yes. There is a percentage of that.
Of course.
But the unspoken percentage is if you get married to generous people who love showing and communicating their love
through the food.
Guys,
I think that's part of it. Who like to show or whatever is one part of it.
Yeah.
The other part of it is if you get married to someone like could make sure akaguta the whole time. They almost take it personally. And no, it's different. And it's like, I mean, you used to visit when I stayed alone. There might be like 7 people in the house. And like sometimes I genuinely just would say, I'm not cooking. Because there's 7 people in the house. I can't afford to feed 7 people.
Your fridge looked like an evidence locker. It would have the most random ingredients. Like it looked like an evidence locker. Like we are keeping these things because they will be needed for a case.
Ka soy sauce.
Ka onion. One bambaira. Like you can tell when this. No, I'm not.
One bambera. I'm free.
You could tell with these things at some point were part of a huge portion that was being decimated bit by bit.
Yeah.
But just a point, this guy is just eating takeout. And does not even remember one fruit here.
Chicken Nut was really close. It was right down the road.
Yeah.
And like I'm saying, like you can't make the time for it. Like I can't make the time to have a meal that has protein, vegetables, and carbs even twice a day. If I'm by myself, I can't do it. But then now,
No, but God bless women, man.
Nah.
Because
it's some of his finest work.
Because do you know the thing that prior to eating prior to eating real meals, you think you're eating real meals.
Yeah.
You think your life is okay.
When you just make the beef stew and rice. But beef stew
no, but would it be beef stew though? Because the point that I'm trying to make is we thought we were cooking. It's not like we weren't cooking. Like it's not, but like when I look at the difference of how eggs look when Mama Eater does them and how they look when I do them.
It looks like you're wasting food. It genuinely looks like you're wasting food. No.
We've used the same things.
All the same things.
We've used the same thing.
Pongwe ones are sold. And
So it's like, even the beef stew that you're talking about is like, I thought I was making beef stew.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, no. Roiko in a part by no includer.
Yeah. And like even just, you're making a meal, right? If the ingredient that you need at this point is fresh cream, or you need garlic, like it's too much effort. Unless if there's some crushed garlic in the fridge, bro. One of my favorite sayings is, if women understood how powerful they were, they wouldn't aspire to be equal to men.
That's true.
Yeah, it's like, bro, you actually know better. You know better. Genuinely, man, I've been married 6 months now?
Yeah.
Since October. And I got on trouble on Twitter once for saying, could I believe that people should just get married at 25? I believe it now more than ever.
Why do you believe people should get married?
I think there's like also a level of focus that comes with responsibility.
Yeah.
And knowing, and that's the patriarchy, right?
Yeah.
That's the other side of the patriarchy. Knowing that my wife's a doctor, so absolutely we're probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
However, if for whatever reason we couldn't pay school fees at my house, no one's coming and saying, "Go doctor badara school fees." It's like baba school fees. So it's I think that the weight of that responsibility is always going to give you that extra push. And like all the other stuff about figuring yourself out and figuring someone else out, I think it's as hard at 25 as it is at 33.
Yeah. But
you're going to have to do that anyway.
But at 33, the world isn't giving you the grace of a young person anymore.
No, it's not.
The world is just like, you're supposed to know this.
Not even your wife is giving you the grace of a young person anymore. Like this little period of this age group where we are is so interesting because we've just come out of, if you were doing anything, you were a star boy.
Right.
It's like, no, Kandoro.
Yeah.
Bro, Kandoro is like, he's 24 years old. He's just come back from uni. He's doing this, whatever. Aita Madorofia social, and there was 50 people there who paid $2. Bro, 50 people paying $2 today is like,
let's be serious.
Let's be serious. And you could be starting out a comedy career today.
Yeah.
In a way, that absolutely makes sense. You have the talent, you have everything.
Yeah.
But the path means you have to make people pay $2 a ticket and get 50 people and go and explain that at home.
Yeah.
I just think you should be doing that at 25, not 35.
It's way more acceptable, palatable.
One of my favorite jokes of yours is the one where you talk about how it's difficult to be a good husband when there's no money. because you don't want to just smile at things. And to be honest, at the time, I didn't know what you were talking about. But now that we're going through, and there's a lot of different developments in different areas of life, right? And like sometimes I just feel like all your ideas require money. Why do none of your ideas not require money? But every single one of them is such a good idea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she absolutely is making you better.
It's important. It has to be done.
Yeah, it has to be done.
And the actual pressure comes from the recognition. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's not like somebody's coming and saying, let's go to Dubai.
You'd be like, no, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Let's not go to Dubai.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, we should do this.
We need this thing that's going to improve our life in this way. And sometimes it's not even it's going to improve our life. Sometimes like the idea to build a studio came from my wife.
Yeah.
Right? Like the idea to build a studio, like she had done research and said, there's these people who do these installations and what I think it would be such a dope, because at the time I kept having to undo and redo like our living room to film. She was like, I'm having to wait until people sleep, and it was hectic. I'm like, there's space on the side of the house. You can just, but it's going to obviously. It has nothing to do with her.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's a thing that is beneficial to me.
100%.
And
it will cost you money, but it will absolutely completely change the experience of content creation while you're in the UK.
And it did.
100%.
And the moment that she said it, I couldn't unhear it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing with the good idea. Like, you can't ignore it. Like, the moment you say it, that you're looking around, the moment you're lifting something to, like,
Bro, I could actually just have these lights on a rail.
Yeah,
and not have to move them anymore.
It's so hard being a good husband when there's no money coming. It's so hard. You want to be a good husband, but how do I do it in a way that doesn't encourage?
It's tough.
Silliness.
It's and I think having money is at different levels.
Yeah,
there'll always be someone who has your level of money. There's always going to be someone who looks at your level of money as having money.
Yeah.
And someone who's going to look at your level of money as, I might kill myself.
Correct. Like, are you?
And have you seen the Dave Chappelle joke where it's like, have you thought about killing yourself?
Yeah. Like,
it exists, right? So, but at whatever level that
I have quiet please, man.
I have quiet please. At best. But at whatever level of money that you have, that extra bit of leveling up that comes from that focus is always going to make such a big incremental difference to you. So
I think also what makes it difficult to be a husband, a partner in this day and age is social media. I mean, they say this time and time again, the whole comparison is a thief of joy. But like, a Tina comparison filter on Instagram.
I was about to say, it's on my Instagram.
They now, that For You page.
Bro, the other day, Tari, my wife, was like, Kandra was flying business class with his family. That's so dope. I'm like, Wong. Well, first of all, that guy's banned. But it's just like, she can't control that she's going to open her Instagram and see that extra leg room. Like that, she can't unsee that extra leg room.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, thanks, bro.
and also even it's not even like this is coming from like a timeline that is so far away, right? Like this is.
We might have been on the phone call together at the time while it was happening. Yeah.
When me and you are on the phone, like especially last year, it was mostly about you building.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah.
Which is not a small thing.
No.
Right? Which is something that, ends up being a conversation that spews in a, I mean, but to be fair to both our women,
yeah,
I think going back to Nyaye Patrick, the things that we hear when women make such comments might be an us thing.
100%.
Do you get what I mean?
100%.
When my wife says, she might genuinely be asking, yeah, papi. You know, this is your friend.
Yeah.
How is he doing with this project? Same thing. Tari is just saying,
business class. That's dope.
That's dope.
Because we talk about kids and like traveling, and it's like, it's hard to travel with kids, and you fly. It's like, you know what? That's dope. And in fact, that might have been my feeling the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
And then she then says,
Yato pressure.
business class. But I think you're right. A big part of it, and Tari may be watching this episode and thinking, bro, I don't even remember saying that.
The things that we hear, I think, but I would like to blame social media. It has made us hyper defensive, especially about our manhood. Especially, you become so keen to show people how different you are as the head of the family.
Yeah,
you like genuinely utorimun are reasonable. But you become so keen to show people that you are reasonable. No. This doesn't happen in Bamangu. Bamangu, things are cool.
We do things like this. Can I have time? Like,
you know, it's because there is a certain standardization where, you know, I feel like the people that came, they definitely have their own issues, but I think social media, I don't know, I would love to have a conversation. Not in a generation and I'm done because I think my father's generation, I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
But they probably had the best jet of all time. I feel like generation like the 50 to 60, they were allowed to go crazy. Like the generation of they like to call it weaponized incompetence, where they didn't participate in any child related other than providing food, school fees.
100%. Kanatosvika padheno kuti tibude mlounge ndoona TV ndakuona
news. They did not participate in, and for some reason it wasn't. I feel like the generation yana sekuru. Like, I don't know if this has anything to do with independence, if this has anything to do with the economic chakadaro situation at the time, but they seem to have been more involved with their kids.
Yeah,
maybe I'm getting it wrong.
I think there's been like a couple of generation shifts, and part of it is social media. The other thing is economics. And like if you're just looking at our pathway as Zimbabweans. So very interestingly is I think our parents' generation was the first group of like women who were going to make money outside of the family.
Oh yeah.
Because before it was sekuru vaina nemhuri yavo kumunda. Unosaenda, you're all my labor. We have food, we sell some, we do whatever.
More kids, more labor.
More kids, more labor. And then it came to our generation whether she was a professional or she was saying good hustler, or she's going to South Africa, whatever. They were now going out and actually making money outside of it, right? And I think Dopakao had the incompetence. Because then now you can have a separate breadwinner in the home.
It's a two-income household.
Oh, one.
Yeah.
Where the mother's the only one earning.
Oh, yeah.
But they were still very steeped in the tradition of
Ndini Baba. I'm still deciding what to do with your money.
So they had the best time.
Yeah.
They had the best time. And then it came to us where like now our wives are professionals.
And they know better.
They've been on Twitter for 10 years, so they've heard every angle on why on Kutuku say. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
I don't think, I think the world is an infinitely better place for women now than it was before.
Yeah.
But like ultimately now it'll be you're involved in the decision making whether I want to or not.
Yeah.
You make too much money for you to not be involved in this process. And also you have access to enough information. So it peaked with our fathers, but
no, they had the best.
They had a good time.
I don't know of any generation that went to concerts more than those guys.
Oh, they had fun.
I mean, this might be a reach, but it coincides with the fall of the music record business in Zimbabwe. Grammar. When that generation, when they left it to us,
Could you guys take it over?
because my dad would be telling me stories. I was stationed Kwamtare, but Anzani, Samuel Chimbeta ainza ku I don't know where, bro.
No, and then cross country to go there.
Mangwana makusendi chimuka tripa basa.
It was also probably the first generation that really did side chicks.
Yeah.
Because of that kind of lifestyle, where they were going out to places.
Yeah.
Now I end up kushow kukwekwe uchiva kwamtari or I end up kwakati. Where I think before then, because you're so localized to where you lived, the best you could do was have multiple wives.
Right.
But Gutinda girlfriend,
it's a proper branch.
15 Ks away. It's too much admin.
Yeah.
It's too much admin. But yeah. No. Good times with them.
That's a good time. That's a good time. That's a good times for them. Nah, man.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, we will, I think also, we will experience, we are experiencing the first generation of men that are shamed for being deadbeats.
Which is beautiful.
It's absolutely amazing.
It's fantastic.
It makes for much better societies.
I cannot overstate enough what being in a children's life, like what that does for their upbringing, for their, like in my family, I'm the fun guy. Like kids eat sugar when I'm around. Like my wife has to beg me. They eat sugar in comparison to how much sugar they eat with their mom. Like I'm chilled.
Yeah.
Like if we walk past, I'm like, but it's not like an obscene. It's obscene in comparison to their mom.
Yeah.
But somehow, I actually asked her the other day. I was like, I don't know how, because I've done my best to be the fun guy. Like I'm the jump around, the let's roll around, don't take. But if somebody needs to be reprimanded, for some reason,
they come to you.
My wife has made it so that I am the disciplinarian. The kids themselves, like especially if it's my wife does it, I'm going to call dad. And I was trying to balance it. Okay, how does this work? I am this, because I would assume because I do all this silly, they would never really take me seriously.
Yeah.
Then I realized, no. The difference is because my wife does it so much, right? Because she really is the one that creates the order and the systems. And she's forced to be in a situation whereby she has to be like, okay, it feels like, because of the frequency of the reprimanding, I don't do it as often. But when I do it, it sounds like, okay, if the fun guy is now looking at me with a stern face, I think that buys it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about placing your partner in a situation where she has to be both. Because that speaks to the balance, right?
Yeah.
Where there has to be that balance, where that's how you end up with kids that really have no respect for their mother.
Yeah.
You know, that really have no respect for the parental unit, because the mother has had to be both the fun parent and the you know.
And it's so hard to do that, because I can also imagine how frustrated and tired you are consistently from playing all those roles. So even the times where you're supposed to be doing fun guy stuff, you're drained.
Yes.
So you don't end up doing
There's
the
no
fun guy stuff that you're supposed to be doing. I was talking about it with Ray Mzembe the other time, and we're just talking about, because you know he's just had his kids in the last couple of years, and he's like, bro, do you know Mandy, his wife, goes out, like she's like, I want to go out on Saturday morning, and then like he has his daughter and he's like, by the time she comes back, I'm like, yo, I have so much respect. And I've only done like the morning. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But like, imagine now doing it throughout the course of the day.
Imagine a situation whereby I'm allowed to come down to Zim and to do this for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, and she still has to go to work.
Yeah.
She still has to do the. I don't know if you've seen my wife's Instagram, but
I was about to talk about those lunch boxes.
she makes those lunchbox, like she'll pull out the toaster, she'll pull out the ham, like
Cutting into small pieces, a little bit of pasta.
some days I would pass through Tesco and buy that prepackaged stuff and put it in there. Like, what are we doing here?
I thought you did like 2 episodes of
what-
me also
Yeah.
lunchbox in the
Yeah.
Never saw another one.
I'm like, what are we? What are we? Because the frustrating thing, because I think with men we are, for the most part, binary with some of these things. If I make you lunch,
Yeah.
you're now jigiwa. What are we doing? Do you-
This is not a fun
So-
little game where we figure out what
you
you
know,
like to eat.
So my wife is, regardless of whether yajigiwa or not, she is going to troubleshoot. I'm like, okay, it's the mango. Let's remove it. Let's put plums. Let's put.
Sometimes you even post, it looks like we're in this era. Like this, we didn't like this before, but it looks like we now like it, and like we'll move into a different era.
She's a proper scientist in terms of, she loves troubleshooting. She loves figuring out why his. And sometimes I feel for her, so I try to be like, yo, go. And she'll get upset at me for trying to limit.
Yeah.
But I'm looking out for her. No. Sometimes I can actually see the frustration of when this doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You are human.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think this is part of the thing that you enjoy so much, in terms, so even taking that away from you is not even something that you would entertain.
Yeah, I think it's like, part of it is like, and I've never raised kids before, but enjoying the process.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun to go to your kid's graduation, or to go to their wedding or whatever. But this process, like, if you can't enjoy the process, it probably ends up being a tougher thing to experience overall.
I think part of also being a good parent is doing just enough for your kids, so that later in life you really can claim that you did this thing.
Yeah.
Like, for every nappy I change, yamaita, for every doo-doo, for every, potty training was some of the hardest thing because this, at that point, you're trying to take away the nappy. So this guy is running around with no nappy, and he does the doo-doo anywhere he pleases. So you are dealing with grown baby nap. Like, it's not a, it's
not a toddler anymore.
It's a proper doo-doo.
Human being. Yes,
but you're doing the thing that comes down is like, you know what? When I can explain this to you, I will tell you, and I will not be lying.
That I did that.
Kuti, I've raised you from you, and I look at your eye, and the same thing. I think the thing that also makes this journey of parenting quite beautiful is, my wife gave birth to beautiful kids, man.
Bless.
Like, I'm shocked every single time.
Yeah.
But I'm also not too shocked, because on one of the rare parenting moments that my dad showed up, fundamental advice that he gave me is, mfana wangu, pakuroora panda kuroorwa mukadzi akanaka. Zvekutani hunhu, zvekutani nhingirikini,
tozozviona tozogadzirisa hunhu
panda kuroorwa mukadzi akanaka.
Yeah.
Mukadzi anopedza dzinza, anopenda dzinza. And you know my dad.
Yeah.
So you can actually see him.
Like me.
Like, he says mukadzi anopenda dzinza.
Yeah.
And I think subconsciously it imprinted in a way. Fortunately, I ended up getting the best of both worlds, because, my wife, incredible human being, aside, from being a beautiful human being. But when you look at those kids, and you look at especially in the times where they're being a nuisance.
Mm.
Like the other day, Maita, yesterday actually, he pulled apart the Hoover, and sprinkled the
dust on
that had just been hoovered. Like he came across I was like, oh, put apart, and then.
Yeah, but that's what mate is supposed to be doing, right?
And
like,
then-
I understand that it's frustrating, but
Yeah.
also that's what he's supposed to be doing at this point in his life.
So you look at
Like,
him
you
and you're like, at least you're cute, Mpanang. Like at the end.
They were shot on
They were- at the very
Yeah. Anyway, this podcast is sponsored by Mukuru Ridan and my mate. My mate.
yeah, entire in my show, yeah, tamanya propaganda. Yeah, we need to spray it with some.
Yeah, around it.
What-
Because
what
if
do
you
they-
just come out here and tell them how incredible
You know
they
the
are.
thing about men need to feel like men. It's a few weeks ago, one of the funniest things that I've ever seen in a long time on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably wasn't fun for people that were involved. I don't even know where the conversation came from.
Yeah.
But the result was a young lady ended up just screenshotting her DMs and saying, my DMs are hot.
Do you know I know that day
Yeah.
was the day that Runner Rules and Volt put out their song.
Yeah.
And no one talked about it, brother. No one said a thing. They were wilding on there.
Like-
there was two of them, It wasn't just one.
It ended up being two.
It ended up being two people. Yeah,
In
no,
this
man.
day and age, to see such level of suicide bombing, and this is like from what I saw, there was nothing particularly salacious about the
No,
DMs,
not at all. Not
but
at
it
all.
was just the amount of people trying to strike up a conversation, trying to finish off a conversation, and the lack of regard to screenshot. Like she would have achieved the same thing by just without showing the names.
The names, yeah, she could have actually rubbed out the names. But so the thing that I've realized about social media, and I like to pay attention to social media from a scientific standpoint. People are on the side of content.
Right.
We're on the side of what's most entertaining. So when she did that,
Yeah.
because she did it in the evening, it was 11 p.m.
Yeah.
She had support. She had so much support that she left that tweet up until the next day.
Oh.
I think at some point, the guys who were supporting her
Yeah.
also then decided, listen, is this what we should be encouraging as the gents? Let's nip this in the bud. Let us make sure that no one else ever has the idea that I should do this.
No, because
And they flamed her. Shame. She deactivated.
market correction.
Yeah, I know they flamed her. They flamed her. I know she was called mid in so many ways, man. And it's that doesn't mean anything. Right?
No, it doesn't.
We're just insulting you for behaving badly. That's what we're doing at this point. No, it was nuts.
But my goodness.
14 weeks, 94 weeks, 94 weeks, 94
Like,
weeks, 93
bro,
weeks, 93.
Do you know how that is so long ago?
Yeah. One of the people, I think it was 2000, end of 2024.
Like
end
that
of,
is
end of 2024.
that is so
94
long
weeks ago.
ago. But
Why am I on you? Why am I on your timeline right now?
imagine waking up and find, because I mean we're only going to get to the 94 weeks after a proper forensic audit.
Yeah.
But at first we're going to do with you were there.
Why were you saying howdy?
Like what My goodness.
Yeah, no, that was tough.
Shout
man.
out to the people that from time to time decide to, give us premium entertainment, man.
yeah.
I will never be mad at that.
No, not at all.
I won't, bro. Before we round up, there's something that I wanted to ask you. I mean, it's in the spirit of shaming each other. You had a different upbringing to the one that I had.
A little bit.
No, not a little bit.
It was.
I mean, if to be honest, the only thing that made us cross our path is the Zimbabwean economy. That is how our path ended up crossing. But
like the graphs were like this.
Yeah, at some point there too, the Zimbabwean economy. But like where you were meant to be headed and where I was meant to be headed
would have been different.
So
you also just happened that you were unreasonably talented.
I mean, thank you, God.
Most of your peers, maybe not so. When I say peers, I mean people you grew up with, not Anna Nigel.
So I wanted to ask in that same, because I went to Rusunungu High in Shurugwe.
Yeah.
You went to Eaglesville.
Gateway. Yeah.
Why am I thinking of Mkudu? Why am I thinking of Eaglesville?
I don't know, but Eaglesville room focus.
What?
I can go cross a railway line here.
Is this private school beef? Is this private? I didn't. So, why did I have them? So you went to Gateway.
I went to Gateway. Yeah.
I remember when I was still at Zetapia, we used to love coming to Gateway for sports and
we were in the same league, so we played soccer against each other.
Yeah,
so quite a few.
I mean, that was the most beam inclusion ever I've ever. I have no idea why they would include us. We used to play against St. George's.
So that zone had Gateway, St. George's, Marlborough High, Mount Pleasant, ZRP, and Eaglesville wasn't there. No, the St. George's was Bora specifically. Yeah, that's the one with Mount Pleasant, Marlborough. Yeah. But yeah,
for some reason we
were giving back.
Yeah, we felt like we're just like but the question that I wanted to ask now is, Kuti, from time to time this conversation of private schools comes up.
Yeah.
I've never felt like it has come up and people have had an honest conversation about it, because the way it often comes up, it forces people to be defensive.
Of course.
It forces people to be, confrontational. What did it do for you? What was it meant to do for you? What did you understand it to? Was it just school for you? Or did you know at the time, like, the level of privilege that came with being at Gateway?
Yeah. That's a good question in terms of, like, if I knew the amount of privilege it was. At the time, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
And that's mostly largely due to the fact that it's all you've known.
Yeah.
I've gone there in Form 1. I actually went to Groombridge for primary school, but I've gone there for Form 1, and at this point, this is school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we play.
You don't know anything else.
Yeah, we play games against ZRP. We play games against Marlborough, etc. And for the most part, the actual school is telling you that we should all be treating each other well. Obviously, like, family backgrounds and people's individuals, they might make people act differently, but it's not like you're being told anyone's different. But I think just before I answer your question, I think also private schools are not the same.
Yeah.
And that is also I'm going to pick on Eaglesville because I already have, right? But, like, let's say you were to take St. John's College.
Yeah.
And then you took an Eaglesville.
Yeah.
It's not the same types of people.
Yeah.
There's overlaps. Those are some of the same, but it's not the same. Like, there's just Vanom Gabiargu St. John's College.
Yeah.
Avasku Eaglesville. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so just from that perspective, I think everyone should be able to understand that there's a different level. So the way that someone is looking at Gateway, Gateway has other things to look to in that way.
Right. So there's its own hierarchy where Eaglesville, then you come down to Prince Edward.
You know what I mean? And it's right.
Then you come down to Zetrapi. Because I remember...
If you're a cool kid at PE, the coolest guys at PE are cooler than the guys who aren't cool at Eaglesville.
Right.
By far. But, like, they're coming to your school and they're macking on your women.
Yeah.
Like, that's a kind of, like, hierarchy.
Yeah.
But, so, now to the question, which is, Kuti, what would it have done for you? I think the biggest thing that it gives you is the environment. And the environment being partially what you experience on a day-to-day. The level of education in those schools is pretty good. Teachers are expected to be at work, and when you're not at work, it's an issue. We are also checking, what did you teach people today? You know what I mean? And I imagine in this world of, like, technological advancement, it's being factored in.
Yeah.
We can afford to make sure that the computer labs have computers where we can run programs or teach coding or whatever. And then the other part of it being the people.
Yeah.
Where, so I went to Gateway and then I went to the University of Pretoria.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of, my closest friends were from that kind of, that time. And it just follows that because when I was in school, for example, in my year, at the time, the commissioner of Zimra's son was in our year. The CEO of Old Mutual's daughter,
right,
Tendai, was our head girl. The deputy governor of the RBZ in 2008, by the way,
crazy,
was in my class as well. You know what I mean? So, regardless of which direction you decide to take your life in, you probably do have access to connections at some of the highest levels.
Right.
Usually it also means that your parents would be, useful to other people in that way. But I think those are the two things.
Yeah.
The final thing, which I think is a little bit of an aside, is the superiority complex that you get.
Yeah.
And the superiority complex is ultimately life giving you audacity.
Yeah.
Making you believe that it's okay for you to be in places that you may not have done enough work to be in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would say those would be the biggest, like, kind of benefits. And just to keep it balanced, and I think it's also important to note, is there some drawbacks.
Yeah.
You're not in at Gateway. It was cool to pass, but it wasn't cool to study. So the guy who's studying and getting B's and the guy who's not studying and getting C's, the guy who's not studying and getting C's was kind of like, and that's not all private schools, that's specifically that. I'm not saying George's will have a different way of going about it. But for that specific environment, I always felt like, there's no hunger here.
Yeah.
There's no hunger here. You're not taught hunger.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're not taught enough emotional intelligence.
Right.
Because the assumption is you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't necessarily need to treat people well.
Right.
Maybe you don't necessarily have to work as hard. Maybe you don't necessarily. So those,
There's no alternative to, if this doesn't work out, this is where you might.
Yeah.
I remember when I got to Rhodes, and assuming, I genuinely, and this was me being childish, assumed everybody had gotten there via merit.
Oh, right.
I was on a scholarship, but I assumed everybody who was there had gotten there because, one, their parent could afford to send them there, but also beyond being able to afford, they had been sent there because they had done well enough to. And then I was coming across like, oh, I had 3 points at A level. Like, isn't 3 points as in what you mean? 3.
One D and an E, and then the other one I know Buddha.
Isn't what are we talking about here?
Yeah, and you're sitting right next to them, right?
Like, I'm talking about people that were doing vastly better, like, at me in terms of life.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't, like, this is not a story that you're being told from a place of insecurity where they're saying, oh, I had 3 points. It's like, so what? Like, that's where the story is being told. Like, these are just results. We are here.
Yeah.
We ended up here. You, bro, you did so well. People had to put you on a scholarship. Yeah. Like, these are people that were doing so well in terms of, like, social life was booming. They were playing sports. Things were going well.
Of course.
Right? But I was still carrying this chip on my shoulder where, one, you feel like you don't deserve, you feel like a fish out of water. You're trying to appease unknown entities where it's kind of, you don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm speaking to the point that you're making where it's that superiority complex where I get it. And I absolutely understand what you mean because I saw it.
Yeah.
Where none of these guys were prepared for a reality where they are not out on top.
No.
Like, these are kids that went to Peterhouse. These are kids that went to George's, St. John's. I remember even getting into a web of lies where I was lying. I had to find like some obscure school.
Yeah.
I thought Lomagandi was obscure.
Oh, you went to Lomagandi? Hey, Mark, Kandoro City, you went to Lomagandi.
And they started referring to things that they do. I was like, what? I was like, but immediately,
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I lying? But it's that thing where you realize, like, had I come from, I'm coming from a place where it's education is the key to success. And that's a phrase that wasn't open to interpretation. It had one meaning. It had education is the key to success.
100%.
You work hard.
Yeah.
But it had also its limitations where the curriculum is, it's very focused on these things. I mean, I probably would have turned out to be a decent lawyer. But I think I'm better at what I do now than that. And I wish I had been in a position where I knew this earlier.
Yeah.
Where who knows when, the years of building, if they had been earlier at 20,
of course,
than they were at 23, 24, what would that look like? But I'm still grateful for the journey. And I'm always curious when I then have, I mean, we've had this conversation multiple times in different versions, but I thought it might be interesting to just have it on tape.
On tape, yeah.
For somebody who might be wondering the same thing.
So I'll make fun of some of these things because, like you're saying, I gentrify the ghetto youth culture, but I do think like a lot of it ends up coming from home.
Yeah.
Which is what are the core values? And I know this sounds cliche, but it's like, what are the core values at home?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I had, which gave me the ability to, or which gives me continuously the ability to relate better and gentrify, is I wasn't a rich guy at school.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, my parents my dad was a lecturer at the UZ, my mom worked in government as well. In 2008, they both on RTGS salaries. I had no idea how they made the school fees, especially during that little block of time. But it also meant that my cousins are normal people.
Yeah. Right.
I grew up in Maple Rain in 6th Avenue and Taitamba Cricket Road. Taitamba Border, and like most of my friends from there went to Ellis Robbins.
Yeah.
So you then get the ability to get that.
Right.
Do you know who struggles?
Yeah.
It's people like you.
Right.
Where Maita kuti awane access to normalcy.
Right.
Iya tanga upinda mu business class at the age ya tanga upinda business class.
Yeah.
And then now at some point you want to tell him, kuti bro, you need to work hard.
Yeah.
So that you can get this or whatever. And you have to go out of your way. And like that's where you come across like some fathers who we've known to do it in ways that we even thought were like, this is a bit harsh, bro. You know what I mean? He's been writing it a lot. So I'll talk about 10 Diamond.
Yeah.
You like Ten's dad was like, me, I'm going to teach you. If you're going to do this, this is where we draw the line or whatever. And you have to, and no one thinks that his father's being rational in the time that he's doing it. No. We think you're being a lot. You're going to do that, Maita, I'll be like,
what are we doing?
What's the problem? But like, there has to be some element from home that like tethers you to real people.
There's a Dave Chappelle joke in there where my parents did just well enough so I could grow up around poor white people.
My parents did well enough for me to grow up poor around rich people.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
I wasn't in the projects, but
yeah, I was, and
because I mean, Dada being lecturer, Mom's being in government. I mean, tenets of education is key to success, but it's also the makings of, that's the middle class. That's what it,
middle class at its core.
That's what it is. At the time, I mean, if you're growing up in Marlborough, at the time we don't have such a drastic north south somewhere divide, but like Marlborough was like big yards. You could have had a swimming pool or a tennis, but it was a big yard. It was a decent house. You were comfortable. Marlborough shops,
they were white neighbors.
Marlborough shops still looked good. The roads were still, Westgate was just over there.
Walking distance. I was walking distance from the complex. But it's not the Brook.
Exactly.
It's not
but it's enough to not think about the Brook. It's enough to not say Gucci into my cousins.
Yeah.
We grew up in a situation whereby I eventually grew out of it, and I'm very embarrassed when I think about it.
Yeah.
But
couldn't you play PlayStation?
I recoil when I think of that. Like, and I'm talking about waterfalls. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
But can you imagine how much hunger over the years that built?
Oh, brother.
Do you know what I mean?
I can tell you the first 10 years of my career were just self-correcting. You know this.
Yeah.
Self-correcting.
I need to experience the things.
Every single thing. But it's so easy to get caught up in consumerism, in materialism.
Of course. And it doesn't end.
It doesn't end. There's always something to strive for.
Yeah.
There's but what I now concern myself with primarily, I mean, I'll still complain about certain things, especially if something cost me as much as because of the principle of, but not so much to make it a whole point of the thing. Yeah. But the thing that I'm really concerned about is making sure that my kids get to experience the things that, so that they never have to have those chips on their shoulder, but to still do it in a way that brings about.
But how are you going to do that? Like, what's and I'm not even asking this like it's impossible. I'm curious about like what your specific process to having your kids, because I think about that a lot. Like, how do I make sure that my kids have both elements?
I think it's the people. I think it's the people that you're around. So we have, no matter what happens, we come home every December. I think what that does is the grounding that it comes with, being exposed to cousins who have different levels of means, where the objective is the fun that you have with the hangout, the story is the community, right? It's the going and keeping in touch with Kumusha. It's the things that we are doing as a family. Yeah. So the another brilliant thing that my wife has done is the things that she has exposed our kids to have nothing to do with having means. Like she's very much like, make, crafts, play-doh, arts and crafts. And I was very much in the
mortar.
Bro, I remember one time I bought my dad a train set. And that train set, those model trains? Yeah. Where it's actually like an intricate piece of it's like a Hornby set. It's like it's actually for adults. Oh. But this is something that I realized after I bought it.
I see.
You know, so because I'm still from time to time in my overcorrective bag. Maita thinks these toys are for him, but we're healing these inner children together. You know, but it's that thing of the things that brings them so much joy. It's going to see dinosaurs, going to see those things don't have anything to do with spending a lot of money. So it's now leaning into like when I just this past weekend, I had a show in Edinburgh. Like, you know, let's make it a family moment because that's so went down, you know, doing zoo stuff, you know, just creating that. We had our breakfast in M&S, which is I guess like equivalent
Sainsbury's.
of but like in Zimcon is equivalent of maybe like a Pick and Pay. Food Lovers I think is a better better, but I say good in terms of in the UK it's not like it's not like a real thing. It's just it's like the quickest place we could get breakfast. Right? But it's still a lovely breakfast. Like you're there, you're stuffing yourself and you're having laughs while you're
doing it.
You're having these quality moments and these little moments and coming out time where, I mean, it's going to be hard as they grow older and maybe you get access to certain things. I look forward to having that problem, but also at the same time, I think we're going to have to, you know, constantly adapt. We are fortunate enough that my wife's family, a lot of them are based in the UK. You know, so Anagogo are there. And those guys have been in the UK for 20 plus years and their lives haven't changed. They are still, so that gives me comfort in terms of like the kind of grounding that they can bring on the kids. I think it just is automatically hard just based off geographical locations.
No, it's tough.
You know, so it then presents an opportunity. At some point, do we then, if it's maybe even from a place of privilege, where you say, do we have a hybrid, you know, where there's a Zim component which is not just a December thing? Is it looking to, you know, But I as long as my wife is there, I'm pretty confident that they will be fine.
Yeah. No, it's really hard. When I was asking you like what your plan is, like I said, it's something that I think about a lot and I talk about with my friends a lot. Like, do you make sure that they're working? Do you like from a very young age say you get paid for chores and then your breaks?
I think that's important.
That's important.
I think that's important.
And then on your break you're gonna go and work. Go to Uncle Mukudze and go work there for the holidays or go to this place or whatever. Just like as a way of building
culture.
A sense of working. Me and my sister, so my sister's 6 years older than me. And we joke about it a lot that we kind of like lived different lives. Where because she was in uni during 2008. So that period where things are hard for us here. And your parents are earning RTGS, she was in South Africa. So, like, money was tight. I went in 2011.
Things are, it's USD.
We've now dollarized, you know, so the salaries are now, the lecturers at the time are now getting decent money, etc. And I just never thought to get a job in uni. It just never crossed my mind. Like,
you're going to see Jacob.
Like... Chico's in Joburg. Do you know what I mean? And like, I do think that for a lot of my friends, especially the ones who went to the UK and to the US and Canada for uni, that was an important part of like the transition. Because for me, it took forever to then be like, okay, I'm done. I've moved back. Now what am I? You know, like I got a job as soon as I got here, which kind of helped maybe. But like, it's a hard process to then get your mindset into, I need to actually work. Things don't just come to you.
Nah, that's I mean, ladies and gentlemen, what an episode. Who knew? You know, if you manage to get it past the first 10 minutes, shout out to you. I mean, you might think this conversation is going on, but it ended up being, it was an incredible conversation, man. I mean, beyond shouting out our wives, shout out to us for being incredible husbands who shout out their wives on podcast.
And also, I think like the first thing about being a husband is finding a wife.
Yeah.
So I think the most important responsibility that you have as a good husband is finding a good wife. So shout out to us, man.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode, Boys River Bridge. Shout out to Mr. Shoko for coming through.
Shout out, my brother. Thank you for having me. Took you long enough, man. I had you on my podcast in like the first 3 episodes.
For some reason, I don't. The moment we spoke about it, I was like, why haven't we done this before? But thank you so much to Read and Flexi. Download the Read and Flexi app today and join just a world of convenience, man. You see where the world is headed. Why not just have this fuel management app on your fingertips? 68 fuel stations dotted across, Zimbabwe. But the real plug of this thing is 2 things, actually. One, if you're sending fuel from outside Zim, whether it's South Africa, whether it's the UK, whether it's US, you are now running away from, the inconvenience that comes with sending Maria fuel and it being misused. You're just sending fuel as fuel. Then the other thing is, just looking at the world where it's headed, if it hasn't already become, it's now a proper love language. Prize if you want a prize, my chocolate. I'm speaking for men, because you guys have been saying fuel. Just send it through my app, bro. Just send me my coupons. I'm talking about us, my mate. I'm around.
Hey, Natari, which one's my cam? No.
Big shout out to Mukuru as well. If you're sending money from Zimbabwe, if you're sending money to Zimbabwe, to the Mukuru wallet, 0 fees, which means Maria you're sending more. So download the Mukuru app today using the link in the description, and I'll see you guys at the next show. We've got Manchester coming up, Bristol coming up, London coming up, closing off the big one in by the time this episode comes out, I don't know if tickets will still be around, but we're doing a surprise Easter show, 7 Arts. So yeah, come through.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So I don't know when this comes out, the tickets will still be there. But Easter, 7 Arts, King Kandoro presents. I'll put a poster here if the tickets are still available. But shout out to you guys. See you guys next week. Heavy.